Carla Jacinto was 12 years old when she was lured away from her family in a small town in Mexico. She was lured by gifts, false promises, and kind words into a human trafficking ring. She was held captive from the ages of 12 through 16 years old. During this time, Carla has estimated that she has been raped 42,000 times. Her worst abusers were men in authority positions, typically police officers, judges, and priests. If you think about it, that's 30 men a day, 7 days a week, and for 4 years. Carla eventually escaped and now spends her day as a dedicated advocate against human trafficking. The National Human Trafficking Resource Center 2006 describes human trafficking as a form of modern-day slavery in which traffickers use force, fraud, or coercion to control victims for the purpose of engaging in commercial sex acts or labor services. Next, I'll show you a video from Office for Victims and Crimes 2016 talking about the types of human trafficking with real survivors of human trafficking.
It can be kind of psychological like that, or it can be more overt, more physical. It can be hitting, abusing, keeping them away from any support systems.
Trafficking doesn't know any boundaries. The victim can be male, female, transgendered, anyone. And it happens all over America.
According to the Counter Trafficking Data Collaborative, these are the statistics of the human trafficking for 2020. The National Human Trafficking Resource Center 2016 describes human trafficking as a form of modern-day slavery in which traffickers use force, fraud, or coercion to control victims for the purpose of engaging in commercial sex acts or labor services against his or her will. According to the United States Department of Justice website 2016, human trafficking is the world's fastest growing criminal enterprise, valued to be an estimated $32 billion a year. Global industry trafficking can occur between countries or areas within a country and can happen to anyone or any race, gender, or age. Human trafficking is a modern-day slavery involving the illegal trade of people or for exploitation or commercial gain. There are many different types of human trafficking today. We will talk about sex trafficking, forced labor, and domestic servitude. Now that we've covered sex trafficking, let's move on to forced labor. Forced labor is the second most common type of human trafficking. The Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000 defines labor trafficking as the recruitment, harboring, or transportation for the purpose of subjection to voluntary servitude for slavery. Now that we've covered forced labor, let's move on to domestic servitude. The Anti-Slavery Organization describes domestic servitude as the seemingly normal practice that is used as a cover for the exploitation and control on someone, usually from another country. It is a form of forced labor, but it also warrants as its own category of slavery because its unique context and challenges it presents. The International Labor Organization estimates that at least 64 million men and women work as domestic workers across the world, not including children. For domestic workers, the circumstances and conditions for their work amounts to slavery. This happens when employers stop domestic workers from leaving the house, don't pay wages, use violence or threats, withhold their identity documents, or limit their contact with families and force them to work.